Chapter 5: The Killing Intent in the Town. Early the next morning, sunlight filtered through the tattered curtains, casting a warm glow in the room. Jack and his companions rose early, preparing to head out for supplies. As they descended the stairs, they found the young woman they had rescued the previous night standing in the lobby. Her face bore a warm smile, but her eyes held a faint, almost imperceptible coldness.
"Good morning!"
The woman greeted them, her voice sweet.
"I can't thank you enough for last night. If it weren't for you, I might have."
She trailed off, but her expression said it all. Jack smiled politely, though a sense of unease nagged at him. The woman's enthusiasm felt a bit excessive, but he chose not to show his suspicion.
"No need to thank us. We just did what anyone would have done."
The woman nodded.
"My name is Lily, and I know this town well. If you need supplies, I can guide you. The vendors here aren't very friendly to outsiders, but with me around, they'll give you better prices."
Jack glanced at his companions, who nodded in agreement. Splitting up might help them complete their tasks faster, so they decided to divide. Jack would go with Lily to gather supplies, Danny preferred to work alone and gather intel, while Sady and Old Bill would search for special provisions. As Jack and Lily walked through the town streets, Lily proved to be quite talkative, sharing the town's history and local customs with Jack. Her tone was light and cheerful, and she occasionally brushed against his arm, as if subtly trying to close the distance between them.
"This town used to be a thriving trading post,"
Lily said, a hint of nostalgia in her eyes.
"but after some incidents, it became more closed off. Now, Mrs. Emily controls everything here."
Jack nodded, feigning casual interest.
"Who is Mrs. Emily? Why does she have so much power?"
Lily's eyes flickered, as if hesitating, but she quickly regained her smile.
"She's a very powerful woman. Everyone in town listens to her. But it's best not to ask too many questions. It won't do you any good."
Jack sensed that Lily was hiding something, but he didn't press further, silently filing away her words. However, he failed to notice Lily's hand subtly reaching for the dagger at her waist. Lily suddenly stopped and turned to face Jack, her eyes locking onto his with a coy smile.
"You know, Jack, you remind me of someone I knew a long time ago. He was brave, righteous, and quite charming."
Jack chuckled awkwardly, unsure how to respond. He felt a strange intensity in Lily's gaze, but he didn't want to be distracted.
"Thanks,"
Jack replied simply.
"Let's focus on getting those supplies."
Lily laughed softly, seemingly amused by Jack's reaction. She leaned in closer, her voice dropping to a whisper.
"You're an interesting man, Jack. I look forward to spending more time with you."
Jack felt increasingly uncomfortable but kept his composure, quickening his pace to create some distance. Meanwhile, Sady and Old Bill were scouring the market for supplies. Sady's eyes kept drifting toward Jack and Lily, and her brow furrowed as she observed Lily's behavior.
"That Lily seems quite taken with Jack,"
Old Bill remarked, teasingly. Sady snorted, her tone tinged with irritation.
"She's just a stranger. Who knows what she's really after? Jack's too trusting."
Old Bill chuckled, patting Sady's shoulder.
"Young people are easily swayed by appearances. But Jack's smart. He'll figure it out."
Sady didn't respond, but her displeasure was evident. She quickened her pace, eager to finish their task and leave the unsettling town behind. Elsewhere, Danny moved alone through the shadowy corners of the town. He preferred working solo, especially in dangerous places like this. His instincts told him that the town held many secrets. He entered a rundown bar filled with all sorts of characters. Danny found a corner seat, ordered a whiskey, and quietly observed the room. Soon, he noticed a group of men whispering, their conversation revolving around Mrs. Emily.
"Word is, some outsiders caused trouble last night."
One man said in a low voice.
Mrs. Emily seems interested in him.
Yeah,
Another man added.
but Ezra's men are here too. Things are about to get interesting.
Danny's ears perked up. Ezra? That name was familiar. He knew Ezra was an old rival of Jack's father and a significant threat to their mission. Just then, the bar door swung open, and several men in black entered. Their eyes scanned the room before settling on Danny.
Hey, buddy,
One of the men said, his tone hostile.
you don't look like a local.
Danny shot him a cold glare.
What's it to you?
The man smirked, revealing yellow teeth.
Outsiders aren't welcome here. Especially ones like you.
Danny's hand hovered near his gun, but he didn't act. He knew causing trouble would only make things worse.
I'm just passing through, not looking for trouble.
Danny said calmly but firmly. The man stared at him for a moment before sneering.
Better keep it that way.
With that, he and his men left the bar. Danny exhaled, realizing the town's dangers ran deeper than he'd thought. As Danny prepared to leave, a familiar figure appeared at the door. It was the mysterious warrior, Sam, clad in gleaming armor, his katana glinting in the dim light.
Danny Klein?
Sam's voice was low and steady.
We need to talk.
Danny frowned, his hand still near his gun.
We've got nothing to discuss. If you're here for a fight, I'm ready.
Sam shook his head.
I'm not here to fight. I'm here to warn you.
Danny scoffed.
Warn me? About what?
Sam stepped closer, his gaze intense.
You're searching for the eye of the gods, aren't you?
Danny's eyes narrowed.
How do you know that?
Sam didn't answer directly.
I come from another land, another time. I don't know what brought me here, but I know you're walking into a trap.
Danny's expression shifted to surprise.
You're saying you're from the past?
Sam nodded.
Yes. I came with a warrior named Takeda, the original creator of the map you carry. But he was captured, and I've been searching for him.
Danny's mind raced.
Takeda? The map's creator?
Sam continued.
He's the only one who can decipher the map correctly. If you want to find the eye of the gods, you need to find him.
Danny paused, then asked.
Why warn us? Why not help us directly?
Sam's expression turned grave.
Because the power of the eye of the gods is beyond your comprehension. Mrs. Emily is one of its guardians. She communicates with the artifact through music. She's not someone you can defeat.
Danny's brow furrowed.
Mrs. Emily? That old woman?
Sam nodded.
She's far more dangerous than she appears. And I suspect she's recently met Jack's father.
Danny's heart skipped a beat.
Jack's father? He's alive?
Sam didn't answer. Instead, he turned to leave.
Abandon your quest for the eye of the gods, or you'll all die here.
With that, Sam vanished into the shadows, leaving Danny alone under the dim light, his mind swirling with doubt and unease. When Jack and Lily returned to the inn, they immediately sensed something was wrong. The once bustling lobby was now eerily quiet, the air thick with tension.
Something's off.
Jack muttered, his hand instinctively moving to his gun. At that moment, Lily suddenly turned, her eyes flashing with malice. She drew a dagger and lunged at Jack.
Look out!
Danny's voice rang out as he shoved Jack aside, but he wasn't fast enough to dodge the blade himself. The dagger sank into his arm.
Ah!
Danny cried out, kicking Lily away in anger. She fell to the ground, the dagger slipping from her grasp.
You!
Jack stared at Lily in shock, unable to believe the woman who had been so friendly moments ago had just tried to kill him. Lily sneered, her eyes filled with hatred.
You outsiders don't understand the rules of this town.
Just then, slow clapping echoed from the staircase. Ezra descended, a smug grin on his face.
Nice work, Lily.
Ezra said.
You didn't get Jack, but at least he got a taste of betrayal.
Jack glared at Ezra.
Why are you doing this?
Ezra shrugged.
I just want you to understand that your father's debts will be paid. And I need that map you're carrying.
Jack's heart sank. Ezra knew about their mission.
Hand over the map.
Ezra demanded coldly.
Or your friends will suffer.
As he spoke, several of his men dragged Sady and Old Bill downstairs. Sady had a fresh cut on her face, evidence of a struggle.
Jack, don't do it! You can't give him the map!
Sady shouted. Jack clenched his teeth, torn between protecting the map and saving his friends. Just as he was about to surrender the map, a cold voice rang out from the doorway.
Ezra, are you challenging my authority?
Everyone turned to see Mrs. Emily standing at the entrance, flanked by Sam and a man with a monocle. Ezra's face paled.
Mrs. Emily.
Ezra forced a smile.
I was just handling some personal business.
Mrs. Emily smirked.
Taking hostages in my town isn't personal business.
Ezra's eyes darted nervously to the man with the monocle.
What do you propose?
Mrs. Emily's smile widened.
Since the town hasn't been this lively in a while, why not settle this with a contest? The winner gets the map. How does that sound?
Ezra hesitated, then nodded.
Fine. Let's do it.
Ezra's lips curled into a cold smirk, his sharp, hawk-like gaze fixed on Jack. His voice was low and laced with challenge.
Since we're talking about a fair duel, let's make it leader against leader. Jack, you little punk, do you dare to face me in a public shooting contest? Let's see if you've got even half the guts your old man had, or if you're just a coward hiding behind others.
His words cut through the silence of the lobby like a sharp blade. Everyone held their breath, the air thick with tension.
This isn't fair!
Sady stepped forward, her voice trembling with anger and worry.
Jack's still young. How can you challenge him to a shooting match?
Old Bill also strode forward, shielding Jack.
If you want a match, it should be with me. Jack's just a kid. Don't try to pull this dirty trick on him.
Ezra let out a derisive laugh, his eyes filled with disdain.
What's the matter, Jack? Too scared? Or are you just going to keep hiding behind old men and women, letting them fight your battles for you?
Jack's face flushed red, his fists clenched so tightly his knuckles cracked. He shoved Old Bill aside and stepped up to Ezra, his voice low but resolute.
Fine, let's do it. I don't need anyone to fight for me. Ezra, I'll show you that my father's son is no coward.
Kid, don't fall for his trap.
Old Bill grabbed Jack's arm urgently.
He's baiting you. You can't take him on. He's one of the most dangerous gunslingers in the West. You're no match for him.
Jack shook off Old Bill's hand, his eyes as hard as steel.
Bill, I know you're looking out for me, but I can't keep hiding behind you all. This is my father's debt, and I have to face it myself.
Ezra burst into laughter, clapping his hands.
Good. I like a young man with guts. It's settled then. We'll have a shooting contest. The winner takes the map, and the loser gets buried in the desert for the vultures to pick clean.
His laughter echoed through the lobby, as if he had already foreseen Jack's defeat. Sady's face turned pale, her eyes filled with worry and anger, while Old Bill frowned deeply, clearly frustrated by Jack's impulsiveness. The air was heavy with an unspoken tension, as if a life-or-death showdown was now inevitable.